Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. My name is Chad Johnerson. I am your Denver modern agent, and today we're going to be talking about why Zillow is listing the majority of their homes for less than what they bought them for, how you are never going to see 7,000 homes hit the retail market, and what this means for the real estate market moving forward into 2022. All of that and more. Stay tuned. All right, so first thing I want to dive into is the fact that Zillow owns currently 9,800 properties and they have over 8,200 under contract. So as this year is closing out, they're going to be closing on a lot more homes moving forward, and 7,000 of those homes are going to institutional investors. So what does that mean? You know, your BlackRock is going to be getting it, other LLCs, some other big corporations, right, that are traded on the stock market or have massive equity and hedge funds. They're going to be going to those big players, and they're never going to hit the retail market probably until after they have had their way with those properties, rehab them, got them for who knows 50, 60, 70 cents on the dollar for the cheap from what Zillow got them for, and then they turn around and sell it to the open market. Now, another thing that I want to touch on is that 66% of Zillow's homes listed on market are listed below the price than what they purchased them for. Now, why is that? Well, they were valuing their properties based on prior calculations, and they were projecting essentially what these properties were going to be worth in the future. So they were essentially selling houses kind of how stocks trade, where they trade on future valuation. And what that does is it just does not align with what is currently going on in the market. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, Zillow's algorithms were probably very extensive, but fixing and flipping is a local game. If you don't have, crews in place to help you with that, and you don't have realtors who know the market to help you list the properties correctly, and you're just basing it off an algorithm, you're gonna miss the mark, and people are gonna be a little bit out of touch with that price that you're trying to sell it for. So it will sit. And I have personally seen some listings get cut by over $100,000 from their original listing price that were listed by Zillow. Now, Zillow from March until present, they increased their workforce by 40%, and that was primarily for this home flipping operation. Since then, and since they announced that they were discontinuing their home flipping operation, they have cut their workforce by 25%, which is honestly so sad because there are contractors, there are people who were salaried employees with Zillow, or they're losing their job, and that is really, really sad. And if you're watching this, you're one of those people and you still want to be in real estate, then chase it, pursue it, go after it. If you want to get your real estate license, go for it. I'm here to help you through that process too. But why are they cutting so many of these people? Well, to be honest, their model just was not that profitable. Like I had mentioned, they were purchasing on future projections of these properties, so they were overpaying for these houses. Now, there was some speculation that they were inflating the prices of these houses in order to drive up the value of a market in a specific area. Now, comping out doesn't work like that. Appraisals don't work like that. You can't just buy one really, really high in order to raise up the value of the rest of the properties in that neighborhood. So Zillow was unfortunately just a little bit out of touch with this process, and they might have had people that weren't even local writing up these offers on these properties, right? But this is all just my speculation. Now, let's talk about the most successful iBuyer and flipper in the industry right now, and that is Opendoor, and their average profit margin is around 5 to 6%. So if you purchase a $500,000 property, and let's say you lose $50,000 on that property and you sell it at a loss, Zillow would effectively have to flip two properties at $500,000 at that 5% profit in order to make that money back. Now, that's not that successful of a business model. So the fact that Zillow is selling at steep discounts, yeah, it obviously indicates they're just trying to exit this and cut their losses because they've had so much opportunity cost of holding these properties, right? there have been all sorts of shortages and supply chain issues that's just backing up their process of buying a home, getting in, fixing it up, turning around and selling it to the market in, maybe a month or two or less. A lot of these projects that I think that they're picking up were more cosmetic projects. So, maybe new paint, new floors or new carpet, stuff like that, not huge renovations. However, with the supply chain issues, it was taking months to get some of these properties moved. On top of all of those issues, you also had to realize that a lot of these bigger cities that they were buying in, they're short-staffed, and they have been for a very long time. Zoning and permitting in Denver, for example, has been a disaster for a very, very long time, from what I've heard from other people that have been in the industry for much longer than I have, just conversations that I've had around them. It's always taken a long time to get the correct permits for any type of work that you need to get done, especially if you're doing structural work or if you need to rezone a property. That could take you up to a year to get that done. So on top of all of those other issues that Zillow was facing, right, you're also fighting local governments as well, and the issues that they're seeing with the pandemic too. And I've been having a lot of questions asked, do you think this is going to cause a housing market crash? No, because Zillow honestly doesn't own that large of a market share in the real estate industry. What Zillow is going through is they're realizing that they are operating a business that was just not profitable for their investors. At the end of the day, Zillow is a for-profit company. They are trying to improve their bottom line, and this was eating away at it because they were trying to do it at a macro level when it is honestly more of a micro level process for fixing and flipping a home. Unfortunately, they ran into a lot of supply chain issues that when you try to do it at scale, it can just eat away at your cash super fast. Now, when it's all said and done, Zillow is going to lose about $550 million. That's a pretty big loss, and I'm sure it hurts their bottom line. And I mean, their stock price reflected it when they announced that they were completely cutting it and they were cutting parts of their workforce. Now, does that mean that you're going to lose the convenience of what you had with Zillow Offers? No, there's still other things out there. There are still other cash offer programs out there. With my brokerage in particular, we have a network of iBuyers that we work with that buy homes for cash, and they close in as little as 72 hours, but they can give you all the convenience that you would really need for a cash closing. If you need help with any of that stuff, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to look at your property, see if it qualifies for one of our investors, and see if we can get you paid at the end of the day. Now, we're gonna go to something special here. I have a business partner that is down in San Antonio. We're gonna be cutting over to an interview, kind of like a fireside chat, and we're just gonna be kind of talking about what we saw, or if we saw it coming, and what we see in our local markets and what that means for the real estate market moving forward. So let's jump over to that. We'll catch you there. All right. What is up, Brock? How is it going? How are you doing down in San Antonio?
Hey, man, it's going pretty good. Can't complain. It's, the middle of November here, and it's still 80 degrees outside, so God, super happy about all that.
That is beautiful. Well, hey, I wanted to bring you on because obviously everything that's going on with Zillow is just, it's kind of a win for us. In my opinion, I don't know about you.
I know I was a little excited about it too, to see that happen.
Yeah. Would you say that you saw a couple of properties that Zillow took advantage of in your local market sometimes, or?
Yeah, I know there was some leads that I haven't talked to, and going into a listing presentation, they kind of forewarned me hey, we're looking at Zillow as an option because they're, they have this program for us and it seems pretty straightforward. And so I kind of, cautioned, give my 2 cents on it and kind of explained how, using an agent the traditional way would probably be better, but if they're giving you above market value, based on all the comps that I pulled in your area, I can't come anywhere close to that. So yeah, definitely saw some stuff like that happening.
That's crazy. So they ended up just taking that Zillow offer then, huh?
Yeah, and I think of this one specific case that I'm referencing, it was 10 to 15,000 above the best comp that I could pull for that house in the area. So it was just, to me, it was insane, but good for them as the homeowner.
That's so, I had something similar kind of happen to me. I was kind of going through a cold calling phase, and I landed on an owner that was, he was like, yeah, I had my home listed, then I pulled it off, and then I started looking at Zillow, and I did their Zestimate, and they gave me an offer, and it's about 3 or 4% above it. And I was like,
wow,
really? And he's like, yeah, and they're going to do it for a 1% convenience fee. He's like, I think I'm going to do it. And I was like, all right, well, I will follow up with you like in a couple of weeks, and I just want to see how that's going. He's like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, I'd be happy to share it. He ended up closing on it, didn't have any issues with it. And he goes, I called him back after it was done. I was like, would you use it again? He said, probably.
oh wow.
So yeah.
I mean, if you're getting above market value and you're happy with the fees, I mean, yeah, by all means do it.
The people that really did come out on top of this whole situation were the homeowners that actually did take advantage of Zillow overpaying for their homes.
I'd have to agree.
It sucks because 7,000 of those properties now that Zillow owns nationwide are going to institutional investors, and I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm sure that has to make some people a little upset.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's there has been previously tons of competition among the buyers, right? I know I'm in San Antonio, you're in Denver, and I think we've shared some stories in the past where we've seen some similar things where we're just having a very competitive market for buyers. So considering that there's 7,000 homes nationwide now that buyers can't get because it's going to investors, like, to me, that's, I feel for the people that are out there trying to buy a home.
Now, have you ever went and looked at a Zillow listing by chance, like recently, after they discontinued their home buying?
Not recently. It's been a while since I've looked at a Zillow listing like in person. But I know I had some clients that were making offers on Zillow homes prior to this announcement.
Gotcha. Were they coming in below what they had them listed at?
I think with these folks, like this one was actually one of those that wasn't like super high priced as far as like Zillow trying to sell it. So the comps on that one, if I remember correctly, and this was towards the beginning of this year, so it's been a while. But if I remember correctly, this one was priced fairly correctly, and looking at the comps, it was, I think we did like right at asking price.
Gotcha. Well, what do you think is gonna kind of happen moving forward, I guess, for your market? I mean, they didn't have that big of a market share, right? Like a lot of people are scared of, oh my goodness, it's gonna cause a market crash.
I don't really think it's going to cause a market crash. I mean, it's going to probably have some sort of ripple effect, right? Because they have their large iBuyer program. Tons of people, if not everyone, knows about Zillow. So, I mean, just the fact that they're leaving the marketplace as a buyer, and there's definitely going to be some cause or some changes happening, right? I know, for instance, there's a pretty big team here in San Antonio that sells homes, and a lot of them they have partnered with Zillow to help sell. So I think they're going to have some sort of negative side effect from it. But overall, I think it'll be good for us agents, especially because I know we keep hearing our clients say, hey, well, this estimate says it's X amount. And then when we do comps, it's kind of like
right.
way different and, more realistic for that area. So what about you?
I was going to say, I think that it's maybe going to help bring our clients kind of back into reality in a sense, without just being and pointing at the Zestimate and being like, well, that's what it says. And it's like, okay, cool. And they lost a bunch of money essentially buying based off of that number. And you really compare it to, what is the fair market rate? I think it's a little bit of ammunition for us too, going into listing presentations if someone were to bring that up. We know the model didn't work out like they had planned. I mean, I know I personally, I didn't see it coming. I mean, I was like, yeah, I mean, they're a for-profit company. I'm sure they got a ton of money, a ton of research going into this. They might know something that I don't, but
exactly, yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah, I was definitely a little shocked too. I mean, I was kind of along the same thought process of like, okay, well, they're a pretty large company, so they got enough, financial resources to get a good team and actually like build out the algorithm and look at these properties. But I guess we didn't know all the back end hidden stuff that we, have kind of been exposed to now. So yeah, definitely, like you said as well. I mean, just, giving more ammunition to us agents that, to go into a listing presentation and just like provide that much more value to our clients. And not only that, but like, I don't really know how the whole Zillow experience happens when you like sell your house, but like I know from us working as a listing agent with a, seller client, like we go, talk to them and meet with them regularly, send them updates and like add that personal touch. And not saying that Zillow didn't do that, but I don't know that they had that because their agents probably are in an office location somewhere away from whatever city or state that they're trying to buy in.
Did you ever hear any of your clients, maybe like people that you know or that are in the industry, like accusing Zillow of trying to like inflate the real estate prices?
Yeah, interesting that you bring that up because yeah, I definitely heard that coming in, and I've heard people saying, hey, like Zillow's coming in here intentionally paying more for these homes that when they sell them, that now they've got these solid comps that sold previously, and so now they can sell them for more, even though, you know, traditionally market value wouldn't have risen that much in that short of a time. So yeah, I definitely heard that.
I touched on it. I was like, it's almost like they were buying houses like people pay for stock, trading on essentially future earnings potential of a stock. You know, I was like, yeah, it's just a little odd, and I don't know. There's a lot of things that went through my head. I think when I started seeing them, you know, going into fixing and flipping and trying to grab their market share, you know, as being a home service company. But, you know, I kind of felt that it was kind of like a marketing type game too. Like maybe they're just trying to get their name out there, more people to like recognize them and talk about them. But thankfully for us, now we get to be the superheroes.
Like I mentioned too, is, you know, it's an iBuyer program that's kind of gone away, but I think too it'll be good because there's lots of those programs out there, including the one we have with our brokerage to help clients possibly get a cash offer now. That opportunity to show like, okay, well now there's not Zillow, but maybe we can try iBuyer program here with our brokerage and see if maybe that's an option for you. So
yeah, did you ever do any like fix and flips yourself for your investment properties, or you did like more long-term rehabs, right?
Yeah, so actually the house I'm living in now, I purchased with the intentions of, you know, fixing it all up and then selling it within about 2 years, and I actually really love my neighbors.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Really nice.
So you might hold on to it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay here for a little bit longer, but
gotcha. Well, thankfully we don't have to compete against Zillow anymore for listings, but that's kind of really all I wanted to touch on. Did you have any questions, I guess, for me up here in Denver, like at all?
Did you happen to see any of those news articles about the lawsuits that are coming forth?
I saw it briefly. I think there was like some announcement today that I read, literally scrolling through Twitter or something.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really read into it too much myself, but apparently their shareholders are bringing some lawsuits towards them for their flipping business.
That's pretty wild. I mean, but also understandable because they're essentially, I think, like selling people on this idea that it was going to be this super profitable business.
Yeah, it seems like they're losing a lot because I know a lot of those homes that they're trying to, you know, sell now, they're selling at a loss for what they paid for it. So definitely wouldn't make investors happy. I know I wouldn't be if I was one of them.
Yeah, they're probably making the best decision cutting the home flipping division and just cutting their losses and moving on. I think in the long run, it's probably going to save themselves as a company. But unfortunately, yeah, it's going to hurt a little bit on the housing market as we move forward. So
absolutely, I definitely agree with you on that.
Plug yourself. Where can people find you at? You know, where can they reach you? I mean, I'm sure I'll put it all down in the description and whatnot. So
Yeah, no, I'm on Instagram. It's Brock_Brimmer. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all those. It's just Brock_Brimmer or Brock.Brimmer, depending on the platform. But yeah, definitely all those places.
Yeah, and you service pretty much all of San Antonio, or do you have like a niche that you kind of focus on around San Antonio area?
Not really a niche specifically, but yeah, all of San Antonio, New Braunfels, and surrounding areas. So Bernie, Bandera, Helotes, you know, Selma, Shirts, all those fun places. So anywhere in San Antonio, as long as it's within about, you know, a 45 to an hour drive, I'll be there to help you out.
Awesome. Well, if I have any clients that want to go down that way, you guys are going to be definitely seeing Brock, and he will be taking very good care of you. Brock, I appreciate it again, man. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me.
Absolutely. It was a great one.